is. We are all in a process, and I am so proud of the video team that put such beautiful presentation together. I really am kind of messed up. You know, when you love your people and you love your women, when you see them manifesting what we saw today, it would make you very proud. And I am very proud. Every speaker, all of your words, the spirit that you spoke from put chills over my body several times. And I said, boy, what a program. I don't need to say nothing. I just need to say, let's join the class and let's continue this work. But I do have a little something that I wanted to share with you. From the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, from Prophet Muhammad. You know, in the early days of Islam in Arabia, I was told by Brother Imam Sultan Rahman Muhammad that the Ansarullah, the helpers of the Prophet, in Medina, the women came to the Prophet and said, "Is this religion or teaching only for men? When are you going to teach us?" And the Prophet said, well, he was waiting on a revelation from God. So the women encamped around his house until he received a revelation from God, and he started teaching women. Private classes. And I had not read that before, but it happened to me. I was in Atlanta, Georgia, after the Million Man March. And as you know, the Million Man March was our call to men, particularly black men, to atone to God for our failure as men to be what God desired us to be with respect to our relationship to our women and children, our families. So I was in Atlanta, and I was in a shoe store. And when I came out of the shoe store, a beautiful black woman came up to me and said, "Minister Farrakhan, you had this Million Man March. When are you going to speak to black women?" And I said to her, I wasn't waiting on a revelation. I said, "Sister, I'm going to come back to Atlanta and I will speak to black women." A few months later, I went back to Atlanta and we called for the black woman. And over 10,000 black women showed up, and I called for her to come up to recognize her as the woman that approached me that caused this class or this singular event to take place. Since that time, I'm honored to say that the great Reverend T.D. Jakes and others have had women's classes and men's classes. But this class today was so extraordinary. This must open up windows to the entire world. So this tape, this video, will be made available to all of you and all of us and to the entire world. Nobody will be able to say that we're a hate group, we're an anti-Semitic group, we're this and we're that. When you see what the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad has done for women. Now, I want to say my only critique was when you say the black woman, we know that the black woman is the first woman on our planet. She's the mother of all living, and this is why they call Eve. And when they bring pictures of Eve, she's a woman of color. So we start here with us because we have been destroyed by our enemies. But this teaching is for all women, not just for black women, but for all women. So when I was watching it, I said, this must go out to the world. Because what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was given by Master Farrakhan Muhammad belongs to the whole world. It starts with us, but it must go out to the entire world. I want to talk to the sisters, to the women, about who you are and why your base is the home, but it's not necessarily your place. Did you know, I'm going to quote from both the Bible and Quran, but I want you to pay attention. I don't want to be long, but I do want to leave you with something to think about. In the Quran, in the second surah or chapter, the 30th verse, it reads, "And when thy Lord said to the angels, I am going to place a ruler in the earth, they said, will you place in it such as make mischief in it and shed blood? And we celebrate your praise and extol your holiness." And Allah said, I know what you know not. A ruler was coming to the earth, that would create mischief and cause the shedding of blood. And the angels were kind of not upset, but they're questioning God, why are you going to allow this? And his answer to them was, I know what you know not. Now, mischief and the shedding of blood is an evil thing. But the Bible puts it like this: all things work for good for those who love the Lord and who are called according to his purpose. So even though a season was going to be given to the rule of wickedness, it would not be permanent, but in that season, every soul would be touched by the satanic mind that would rule in that season. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us that we, the original people, make history. Before we live it, we see it and we write it. 25,000 years in advance. So he taught us that in the year one of this present 25,000 year cycle, a man was seen coming to birth in the year 8,400 of this present cycle, a man named Yaqub. And that man would bring in a civilization the like of which has never been seen before. An unrighteous civilization. So when we, the original people of the earth, knew that an enemy was coming who would rule, we then set about to hide the wisdom of our ancient civilizations, so that when the wicked one came, he could not borrow from our ancient wisdom to build his world. He would have to build it from himself. So during that period, the ancient civilizations of the original people of our planet, the indigenous people, the natural people to our planet, was buried under jungles, under sand, under water, so that when the enemy came, the only thing they saw that reminded them that there was civilization, that this one is a baby to, we left the pyramids and the Sphinx for the new man to see. And when they saw it, they called it the first wonder of this present world. And the Sphinx is a lion in Arabic called Abu el-Hawl, the father of everything. And that lion had the face of a black man with broad nose and thick lips, to let you know that you are not a Johnny come lately, but you are the original builders of every great civilization. It started from you. But guess what? Not only were we then to hide our wisdom and civilization, the woman who carries the secret of God would have to be called in to be protected protected from this new creature that was coming, who would, in his heart and mind, seek to destroy the moral character of women all over the earth. You understand me so far? Now, who are you that God would have to hide you and call you in to protect you, because in you is the secret of God and civilization? Boy, this is heavy stuff. So the woman had to be put under the control of the man, the freedom that she once had to walk beside the man in building worlds. Everything that you see in creation is the work of man and woman. I'm going to say it again. You're not no little thing. You are very big in the eyes of God. So let's see, who are you? Who are you? In the Quran it reads, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, O people, keep your duty to your Lord, who created you from a single being and created its mate of the same kind, and spread from these two many men and women. I want to unpack that verse by the grace of Allah to show you. He created you from a single being, not from no rib. And men have used that in an ugly way to show a woman as being crooked, bent, a rib. We'll throw that out today. He created you from a single being. If you have your pen, you write down the word single and the word being. Then go look it up. When something is single, it is one and one alone. Whoa. Being means the essential nature of something. It's being, it's alive, it's present. So God created man from a single, one of a kind, only one. In the nature of that being is fundamental. It's the essence of what a man is. Well, who could that be? When we say, Kul huwa Allahu ahad, say he, Allah is one. Well, if the man was created from a single essence or single being or a single person, that person is God himself. Now just listen. Then he says, from that single being, he created its mate of the same essence. So the woman is created from the same essence that man was created from, and the essence that man was created from is God. So the essence that the woman is created from is God too. That's why I was so pleased when I heard the sister say, we are not the woman of man. We are the woman of God. Then ask yourself, well, when did this take place? The Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us God is self-created. He don't have no mommy or no daddy. He created himself. Wow. So if he is self-created, he looked within himself and found you. And out of himself, he created woman. Wow. So, how great are you to be the second self of God? The Quran in another place says that the woman is 1 degree under the man. Some men have been stupid to say that, we are your superior. That you're going to have to prove. Because 1 degree is a step down in rank. So if God is a 5-star general, she's a 4-star general. Now let's think about this. You are just a little below man and a little below God, because when you know self, you know God. When you know God, you know self. So how old is the black woman? She has no birth record. We can't tell. Nobody was there to record her beginning because she came out of God. So she's a co-creator with God. He created woman as a helpmate. Well, now, you say, well, God don't need a helper. He didn't create the woman out of a need. He created her out of a desire. He didn't need the son, he created it. He's above need of all his creatures, but I don't know how long it took him to create himself, but I imagine it was a painful process to create self from space, the darkness of space and the dark matter of space. I'm coming to something, and I want to get there quickly because I don't want such talk to make you think that the class is not a science class. This is science. And what I'm trying to get you to see is everything that's in creation, you had a hand in it. Not some things, everything. You are from the Lord of the worlds. So, when Samson said, if you had not plowed with my heifer, you never would have learned the secret of my riddle. It's trying to tell you that the secret of man is in a woman. And if you want to get to a man and destroy a man, you have to go through who? All right. So we had to hide you to protect ourselves. So when they say, and you should stay in the house and you should not do this or that. See, this was protection for the civilization of God that was already in you, and once that was destroyed, we are gone. So when the enemy comes, and I'm speaking now of the rule of Satan, the Caucasian man, he's gone into every nation, every woman of every people, and once he destroyed the power of the man to protect his woman, you became the booty. Do you understand? Once there's no man to protect you. See, you are made to look up to God, since you came from God. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught me that the woman's nature is to equal herself up to man or up to God. So whatever God is, you're going to be striving to be equal to him. That's how great you are, and that's how great your potential is. So for 6,000 years, the woman has been suppressed. And in most civilizations, the women have been oppressed. And right now, all over the earth, women are rising against the mistreatment of women by men who do not understand the nature and value of a woman. Now, sisters, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said there's no such thing as a no good woman. Every no good woman was made no good by a no good man. I want you to think about that. When my sister talked about the pure love of a female child for the male image of her father, that pure love that sometimes mother has lost, it happens. But the child in that pure love will say, "Daddy, are you hungry? I'll make a sandwich for you. I'll do this for you." And a father sometimes, in his degraded state, cannot take the pure love of his female daughter, sometimes without interfering with that love and turning it into incest. And most women, especially our women, can say with truth, "I have been abused." Abused by men who I had confidence in, abused by men that I loved, abused by family members, abused by friends of the family who were friends, but they came to the house looking for the girls in that house to destroy them. When you saw the sisters here fighting, and they weren't playing. Them brothers were in pain. You could see them hitting their legs to say, "Ease up," because those sisters were giving them a little trauma. But a man who destroys the virtue of a woman is worthy of death. And any woman who fails in her duty to protect both the boys and girls that she produced. Some sisters know that that man is interfering with the children, and you're cowardly to protect them. I'm not telling you go home and kill the man. Even though that's what he deserves. But I am saying it's your duty as the producer of that life to give your life to protect what you produced. So for these last 6,000 years, women have been under men who did not value them. I say to Muslim sisters, my beautiful Muslim sisters, Islam needs reform. And the reformation in Islam is around the female. In Judaism, have you seen the movie Yentl? It's an old movie. Barbara Streisand had to play like she was a boy in order to get instruction in religion, because religious instruction was denied the women. In Islam today, women stay home, men at the mosque, and in some societies which we have visited, women are treated in a manner that would make a woman think she is less than what she really is. My wife and I were in Africa, in a place called Burkina Faso. And it was time for Salatul Juma, Friday prayers. The men were in a beautiful mosque like this, air-conditioned, and the women had to pray outside in the dirt. See, Prophet Muhammad is not the father of that stupidity. My wife and I made Hajj. That's the pilgrimage to Mecca. And while we were there in a place called Mina, outside of the holy city, we, the men, it was lunchtime, and the men were in an air-conditioned room, and the women were on the roof in the heat of the day with the flies, and my wife, Sister Khadija, led a revolution. She said, I'm not staying up here. I'm going down where my husband is. And the sisters followed her, and the men were so shocked to see the women standing up. They bowed down, and the women were taking lunch in the same air-conditioned quarters as the men. Now the end of Satan's rule has come. And you notice they're finding civilizations under the sea, in the forests, down in Central and South America. They're digging great civilizations from the Maya, from the Inca, and various indigenous groups. And now the women all over the planet are rising against oppression from men. Now, when women fight like these sisters, I guess their husbands really know how to respect them. We don't like to see men abusing women. In our society, any man that strikes a woman, he gets time out of our society for 90 days, and if he does it again, he might get more time, and if he does it again, he might get a whipping from the FOI. Now, I'm saying that to say this. Even though, sisters, you fight men who want to exercise a degree of righteous control, the Bible tells you that Christ is the head of man. Man is the head of woman. Woman, the head of children. This is Paul teaching in the book of Corinthians. Let me just read it, because I want you to see that we're not just making something up. This is real. Now, we got to figure out how we're going to do it right. Look at what it says in the 1 Corinthians, the 11th chapter, the 8th verse. For the man is not of the woman, but the woman is of the man. Neither was the man created for the woman, but the woman for the man. This is the plan of God. Now, in the Quran, man is called Khalifa, meaning one who stands in the place of God by God's permission. The woman stands beside him as a ruler. What is this? But man is made for the glory of God, and woman is the glory of man. Did you know? I saw it on television the other day. A woman rebelled. They were in the divorce court. I happened to turn the TV, the judge, I can't remember the judge, but the woman was there and the man was there, and the judge asked him, why do you want to divorce your wife? He said, because I asked my wife not to dress like this. She's part naked, going out in the community, and I don't like that. And when I tell her, don't dress like that, she says to me, I dress like I want to dress. Does that sound familiar? Now, sisters, a man, when he looks at you in the beauty of your form, and some of you are formed so beautiful, most of you, and it really don't matter, because man is attracted to the form of a woman, however she formed. However, she works to keep that form looking good and the man going crazy. So the man asks his wife, said, baby, don't dress like that. You have men out in the street that if they see the beauty of your form, they see your bosom and other, the Quran calls them adornments. Did you know your breast is an adornment? I don't want to break it down too much. But did you know the way you are formed, your posterior anatomy is an adornment? So you know, when something is adorned, it is made even more beautiful by the adornment. So that adornment is for your husband. You ain't married, it's okay. Cover the adornment. Because the moment you start showing what God has given you as an adornment, you don't attract the man at the highest level of his creation. You attract him at the lowest level. So some sisters will say, listen, let me tell you. Let me tell you something. If a man can't control himself, that's his business. No, sister, don't talk like that. Because he wasn't made to control himself if you show him the thing that causes him to lose control. And you know what I'm talking about. So the Honorable Elijah Muhammad gave us laws. We are not supposed to watch or study the motion, the movement of the woman. Because sometimes you move in a way where your adornments are attracting attention. True? And I've often seen women, you know, before they go out, they look in the mirror and they look over at the adornment. If it looks good to you and you own it, it look good to any man who got the privilege of seeing it. So this is why the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, where there are no decent women, there are no decent men. You are responsible for our decency because man has an animal nature like you. And he's aggressive in his animalistic passion. And all you got to do is show up and show out, if you know what I mean. Then the nut comes out of the man. So if you don't want a man to be attracted to you for the beauty of your form and neglect the beauty of your mind, because that is not what he's looking for, then you deny him